Order for breaking news case pan in bro Ghanatube order from Bekai say aye Ken Oforiata name sem aye dija court pan sianu obi a hwe nim say aye OSP Office of the Special Prosecutor obey bibia found sianu Office of the Special Prosecutor ne ho aba asem den ye say aye Attorney General any Deputy Attorney General no mo hwehwe aye omo se onfa Ken Oforiata the docket na den bro mu se na be ya omo betumi a fast track process no up till now almost for the past 2 months ni omo hwehwe Ken Oforiata the docket from the OSP ni nye na adwen se o de be mo omodofo OSP no Office of the Special Prosecutor kisie jabin ena ne ho aba asem den omo hwehwe Ken Oforiata the docket. Up till now, my request is say on for docket in the more the data send a beer or more expediting no send a beer the process no a beer very fast or for up till now. Attorney General, any Deputy Attorney General, march the name for the past 2 months now. Or for Aya Kisie Jabi, Office of the Special Prosecutor, near Nadrian say, or the Ken Oforiata and a docket in Nababa Abonti, no to me fast tracking the process. Therefore, when you're breaking news about jams beginning in Nabro Ghanatube, for my uncle, you got this answer when you Nanchimu, Yamba is here Ghanatube.
Of the Special Prosecutor stalling Ken Oforiata's extradition? That is the question that we're going to get some answers to from all sides, in fact, because the Office of Special Prosecutor has been responding to this position, and then also those who align with the Attorney General, there's a Deputy Attorney General who expressed these concerns earlier today, are also very strong in their conviction that it is indeed the case that the OSP is frustrating this process and that there's an avenue for Ken Oforiata to be tried in absentia. The OSP has ruled that out even today. And there's no room for trial in absentia. We'll hear from one person who strongly backs that call for a trial in absentia. Kofi Bento is private legal practitioner, is going to be joining us shortly. The Office of Special Prosecutor has denied reports that it is at loggerheads with the Office of the Attorney General over the extradition of the former Finance Minister Kenneth Oforiata to Ghana to face prosecution. The OSP assured that it would rather work with the Attorney General to ensure lawful prosecution of Ken Oforiata. Now, this follows the revelations earlier today by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Shremsai, that the AG's office still hasn't received the docket from the OSP on this Ken Oforiata case. Let's take a listen to Dr. Shremsai, and then Dennis Poberi Esquire is going to be joining me in a bit. But take a look at this.
Mr. Ken Oforiata is a subject of a number of criminal investigations, right? I think the one that is popular is the one that the OSP is conducting. And also, that is the one that we are made to believe is in an advanced stage where extradition will be required. And indeed, the OSP has already put the person on red alerts, Interpol red alerts. What it means is that it's a notice to the whole world that this person is a wanted man. But the Interpol alert is not an extradition, procedure. So if we really want the person to come, we need to make an extradition request to where we believe he is, which is the US. Now, this is what's, and listen to me carefully on this. We are the only authority, that's the Attorney General Office, we are the only authority that can make extradition. But we need a docket from, an investigative docket from the OSP to be able to make this extradition request. As of today, we still do not have a docket from the OSP. We have made several requests to the OSP, written letters, written demands to the OSP, asking that now that you've announced to the world that you are ready to have this person extradited, and there have been communication to that effect that even we've seen communication to the effect that the docket is ready and it's only the Attorney General that can make the. So we have been asking for the docket for a couple of, I think about 2 months now. We still do not have the dockets from the OSP, and so without the dockets, you cannot go to the American authorities and say this is the person we want him. No, you need to show because when they are asking for people to be extradited to the United States, they bring the full docket of as if they are going to court, and then we take that docket to court for the court to see whether there's really merit for bringing the person down. We have to do the same thing. We also have to take a full docket of all the evidence and what we believe the law, and then we take it to the United States authorities, and they will process the extradition and bring.
Oh, that's Dr. Shem Sai there, quite clear in his words, and that.
Out of 14 seminar course, just say Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, nothing about Bontin or the Sansem winning information winning now. At the Ababe to Abontin, the Magana Funas, yes, we see semi course concerning a Ken Ufuriata, no court case, Ubeka is and Chibiano would declare and wanted, and see Amino Casan. Yes, see, up till now, OSP, Office of the Special Prosecutor, up till now, for Ken Ufuriata, the docket, and Bro Muye. Na omunjina so na muntumi find expediting or for because of dockets na omutwe enim nti no muntumi nya hwe emfa wonto mo hwe enim se eye OSP or the Ken Ofuriata ne dockets me ba bonti for the past 2 months na ma hwe enim sa ontumi fa dockets ne ma bonti ye nti no say for now ne de docket no mo twen from OSP say na be on betumi expedite eye Ken Ofuriata up to now 2 months ni eye Office of the Special Prosecutor no muntumi for docket ne but for when e breaking news abeto dwa me so be na bro e Ghanatube for man ko ne chance no so be see e Ghanatube so
raises for some questions and concerns about where we are with this kind of Ofuriata case. Hearing from the Deputy Attorney General, for that matter, Dennis Popeye Esquire is with me, and you've been following this case right from this morning when we got this revelation. It sets a certain signal, does it not? This is not the first time we've had the Attorney General and the OSP, and this time there's no Iyoko in it, but
not at all. Yes,
going at each other, or
we have worked this path before. Except this is with different persons now occupying the same offices. I mean, it's still the same Office of the Special Prosecutor, but this time around, in the Office of the Attorney General, you have a different person in there.
True.
But to put the matters in their proper context, I mean, this is not really the first time this issue is coming up. It had come up already on social media with correspondence between the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Office of the Chief of Staff, the Attorney General, and those correspondence, as we saw them, seem to suggest that there was some request made on the OSP to give certain documents, just so we don't sound so legalese and use dockets. Yeah. Just say documents that will facilitate this extradition process. The extradition basically is how they can get former Finance Minister Ken Ofuriata back to Ghana to face the law. But what we heard from the Deputy Attorney General, it's more like now giving more meat to what we had already read on social media, or giving more veracity to it.
True.
And he was quite clear and instructive that yes, they've made requests, but they still do not have these documents. And he begins by saying that this is a case that a certain sense was created, and that for them to ask for those documents to help, and they are still not in fact, as at the time he was granting the interview, he said as at the time he was speaking, they still did not have those documents. But of course,
this was the request they put 2 months ago.
Yes. So but of course, the Office of the Special Prosecutor hadn't spoken on this ever since the matter came up on social media. But when the Deputy Attorney General spoke on the matter, then some responses started coming in. First, we saw on the personal Facebook page of the Director of Strategy and Communications, Sami Dako. He had written at length to address the matter. Then shortly after that, there was a statement on the letterhead of the Office of the Special Prosecutor itself addressing, I mean, substantially, the two statements, both on Sami Dako's page and then on the OSP's letterhead, carry the same information. And that's to the effect that they wanted to put matters in their proper context. And the first thing they sought to do was to dismiss that seeming suggestion that there was some kind of friction between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and then the Attorney General's office in respect of the extradition processes involving the former Finance Minister. In doing so, they recount and admitting that indeed those correspondence that we saw on social media indeed were true, except to also express the fear that it compromises their own security. and to also say that they can say for a fact that those documents or those letters between the offices of the OSP, Chief of Staff, Attorney General, the leakage of those letters did not come from the OSP, and they are concerned that such leakages compromise the quality of work they'll be doing. But what's important is that in that particular, in the correspondence, they try to give timelines as to what really happened at what time, and the reason for which the Attorney General still does not have the docket as he or as the office has requested.
So
and they basically make the point.
They're essentially making the point about they're not frustrating the work.
So that the OSP does not sacrifice excellence. This talks about how speedy the Attorney General office wanted the docket, and how the OSP also wanted to take its time to do the work, just so it does not sacrifice the quality of the work for its for expediency.
Did they say anything about the extradition process? Yeah.
Yes. Of course, they had to indicate that this whole extradition thing was based on the investigations by the OSP, just to say that they own it. So there's no point frustrating something that they themselves have actually started. And this is what they say in parts. That the OSP does not sacrifice excellence. No, let's go back a bit, because that's where they begin talking about the frustration aspect. Yes, that the OSP is not frustrating and will not frustrate its own extradition request. Therefore, there's absolutely no reason for the Attorney General's department to feel frustrated if that is the case in respect of the matter it is involved in. Then he goes on to now talk about the fact that the OSP does not sacrifice excellent and professional investigation on perceived frustration over a response. The extradition process is a multi-agency procedure involving several sequential steps and statutory actors. Now, mind you, Alfred, they make the case that along the line, while that engagement was ongoing, the OSP had to carry out some exercise at the offices of SML, in which they discovered some new material that they needed to analyze and evaluate. And that's when the office of the Attorney General reached out on a second, making a request again for the dockets. They explained to them that the dockets will have to delay because they still were making the analysis of that material that they gathered in respect of SML. And that for them is the reason for which the docket delayed. But of course, they did concede that that engagement had been ongoing. Even beyond the written letters, there had been some other conversations between the Deputy Attorney General and then that's of the office of the Special Prosecutor. I see.
It's interesting because it talk about no hint of what institutional cooperation breakdown, but then again you have the Deputy Attorney General raising that concern about how long it has taken for them to have the documents they have been asking for in this particular regard. That assurance of the continuous collaboration or cooperation is important because you see, it is for the greater good.
Precisely.
The Attorney General's office is the mother the office for the OSP.
They are the central authority when it comes to this.
They approve their budgets and so on. I mean, the OSP derives its authority from the agency now.
And this is even more crucial because when you look at what we are talking about, this extradition process, the Attorney General's office is the central authority. And that was why when the OSP made that request on the Chief of Staff, the sequence of communication was that the Chief of Staff referred the matter to the Attorney General. Attorney General now notifies the Office of the Special Prosecutor that, yes, I have received your extradition requests. Kindly furnish me with further information, which included some officers that they required from the OSP to join in and also the dockets. The officers were assigned all right, but the docket did not come based on that explanation they gave along the line that they had discovered or they had done some search and seizures at the office of SML, for which they were still working on. But what's important is that even though you don't find it expressly in the official documents from the OSP, when you read what Sami Dako, who is the Director of Communications and Strategy at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, put out, he says that he is aware that this docket is near completion and hopefully it will be submitted within this week to facilitate the process of extradition. So if that's anything to go by, which of course he is the man who has been engaging us all through all this time, it means that within this week, that docket in question should be given to the Office of the Special Prosecutor for the processes to progress, Alfred.
But you also would find those who...
Order for when a breaking news about to just say, Office of the Special Prosecutor, and or ISC, just say OSP. Kisi Jaben and just say, no, ISC, I just say, I was some case because you see, on person or the Ken Ufriat and a docket, the Babonting, and the Attorney General. Now, Omutumi expedite a year Ken Ufriata, into up till now, I think over 2 months in ye, on to me for a docket in more Moya Chese. Ye nim yentia up till now, no keep his a docket, no or no one will nim yentia, or keep it docket up till now. The 4 way, and the area was a man. I hate a office of the special prosecutor, Miss Beginning in bro. I will get to the phone with December like no more subscribe no more share my notification board so I might send a bear. I bring a BB adopted content say ya woo when in tempan watching with a model for her and I bet in seminar BC or Ghanatube so. Macramina, Madame Nas be brave.